Alors, bonsoir tout le monde. Au point de
Good evening,
départ,
everyone. Before we start, just a reminder that this meeting is available in both official languages using our simultaneous interpretation function.
is available with the simultaneous translation. On va débuter avec la reconnaissance.
I'd like to start by recognizing that the land on which the city of Dieppe operates is part of the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq. This territory is covered by the treaties of peace and friendship that the Mi'kmaq jointly developed and signed with the British Crown in the 18th century. The treaties did not deal with the surrender of lands or resources, but in fact recognized Mi'kmaq title and established the rules for what was to be an ongoing relationship between the parties. And dear colleagues, please, let's have the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I think that everything I had to read this evening is going to be as long as the whole meeting. So the week of September 18th to 24th, we will be celebrating the second Municipality Week in New Brunswick. This is an opportunity to recognize the dedication of all of our employees who offer quality service day after day in order to meet the needs of the residents. They always put forth and highlight the services the municipality offers that really focus on the quality of life of all of our citizens every day. This is also an opportunity to thank our volunteers who work within a number of community organizations by helping in the well-being of the community while offering a dynamic community life. We will soon be launching a contest for the nicest pictures of Dieppe in order to really highlight what residents prefer in their municipality. We will also show the profiles of our employees in different sectors on our social media pages. As a matter of fact, there was a recognition of several of our employees in the last version of the Dieppe Mag. This will allow people to discover the work done by our mechanics at the operations center or our urban planners, or again, the people at the reception here, and to meet our CAO who has been working in the municipal world for 35 years already. You're not a young one anymore, are you? So in closing, seriously, in closing, I'd like to take this opportunity to point out all of the work done by my colleagues here at City Council. Your dedication in following up on all of the issues that touch all of our community, it is worth noting. And on that, I'd like to wish you a good municipality week here in New Brunswick. I'd like to start by opening the meeting. And do we have confirmation of quorum? Yes, we do. Any conflicts of interest? Are there any conflicts of interest this evening? None. So we will move to the adoption of the agenda. If it's been moved and seconded by Councillors Thibodeau and Jeannet on the question, it's the first time. For those who know Councillor Jeannin, all those in favor of the resolution will signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The agenda has been adopted as presented, which brings us to item number 7, presentations, inquiries, and petitions. And as always, we will start with the inquiries by council members of the Kodiak Regional RCMP. And we have Inspector? No. Yes, Inspector. I'm sorry. Inspector Chantal Arsenault is here with us this evening. So welcome, and you have the floor. Thank you, Your Worship, councillors. Thank you very much. This evening, I'm accompanied by Corporal Guillaume Bélanger. He's the supervisor responsible for the Community Police Unit. He has joined our unit last April, and thanks to you, as well as the cities of Moncton and Riverview, that we were able to invest in one of these specialized units, that is the Community Policing Unit, that allowed me to create this position. To give you an overview, everybody needs supervision, leadership, and help. And so we have a civil member who is managing the community unit, but we wanted to add the police aspect to it because we want to listen. We have been listening to your recommendations. Last year, we had 6 police officers on the team. 4 were permanent positions, and 2 had been moved from the patrol unit. And I thought that it was very important to add a corporal to give to help in the structure and to be more strategic in the operation. So, Corporal Bélanger. Thank you, and welcome. Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you for the invitation, councillors. It's an honor for me to be here this evening to present my team, the Community Police Unit, the Kodiak Community Policing Unit. My first posting was here in Kodiak 15 years ago. I started in 2007 here. Like you, I saw the city grow with all of the challenges that accompany that. The Community Police Unit is a great addition. I think we will contribute a lot to the structure and to the development of Kodiak. The team, as Inspector Farah mentioned, the team is made up of 6 police officers, men and women, and representing diversity. We have people from outside the country. People from the area will recognize themselves. We have some Acadians too on the team, but we have people from different backgrounds as well. And we're going to work on 4 different streams: youth, seniors. We're going to work with newcomers and the vulnerable population. Over the last few years, we've seen that, well, COVID created a number of problems of addiction or homelessness, and it's really exploded over the last few years. So I have 6 dedicated staff members who are going to have all of the community and social resources necessary in order to go meet with these people and to try and give them hope. We're not claiming that we're going to save them all in a short period of time, but the day that somebody wants help, we will be there to help them and to offer them the resources. There will be other activities throughout the year. Right now, we're in the 39 schools in the region, and we do lockdown practices and drills. And so we're very flexible as well. We can adapt to the different challenges that the police may face. But you're going to see us in Dieppe, in Moncton. You're going to see us around because our objective is to be more present. The police officers are going to be there other than just when they respond to calls involving crime, for example. So thank you very much for your support. And we do hope to give you the best service possible in the future. Thank you. Thank you, Corporal Bélanger. It's a pleasure to meet you, and we hope to continue to see you here or within the community and at special events. Thank you. Welcome aboard. I'm sorry, was there a question? I'm sorry, it's Inspector Farah. I'm sorry, I cut you off. Yes, can I present my report for the last 2 weeks? Yes, thank you. Last Thursday, we shared an important development in the development of the investigation of the murder of two of our residents. Our major team, our major crime unit, charged an individual with 2 counts of first-degree murder in connection with the 2019 deaths of Bernard and Rosemary Saunier on September 7th, 2019. So a 27-year-old man, Jansen Brian Baker, was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder last week, and he is currently in custody of Corrections Canada, pending court proceedings on several other matters. So he has been remanded into the custody of Corrections Canada. He is scheduled to appear in court in Moncton on September 14th this week at 9:30 in connection with the homicide charges. As you can appreciate, this investigation was extremely complex. The team made up of specialized investigators, forensic experts, and the representative of the major crime unit of the RCMP and of other sectors have worked relentlessly over the last 4 years to find the truth, to find the person responsible for these murders. As you can appreciate, we're very limited in terms of the information we can share with you in order to protect the integrity of the investigation and legal proceedings, but public safety has always been and continues to be our priority. We have asked for the help of the public throughout the investigation, and the help and the support received played an important role in this investigation. But like all investigations still underway, if anybody has further information that could be relevant, that could help in the investigation, please find the courage to call the RCMP. And you can also use Crime Stoppers. I thank you. I found it really important to talk about this. I know that it was a very hard burden for the community. People have a lot of questions, and as soon as we can share information with you, we will. And now I'm just going to talk about another case that we had, just to tell you that our job is never boring. We have some dangerous roles sometimes. On August 25th, yes, on August 25th, I'm sorry, I'm getting, no, I'm on the wrong case here. No, on August 25th, just before midnight, we received a call here in Dieppe of a woman who was missing and in distress. Now, I'm going to talk to you about a technology that we used, and not the dangerous aspect of it. She was disoriented. She was lost in a wooded sector along the Petitcodiac River. As an emergency situation, usually we use all the services available. So we called our dogs to see if they could help find her. It was past midnight. It gets cold quickly. She was disoriented. Everybody was very concerned for her safety. Unfortunately, the dog wasn't able to find her quickly, but somebody from the patrol had the idea of using our teleguided drone pilots, if we could use those. And we said, what a great idea. We have some members who have been trained on the use of drones. So they used one, and they found this woman just within a few minutes. And she was found because we have an infrared system that we were able to notice her body heat. So just to say how it's always important to invest in training and in technology, and in Kodiak, the service is available, and it's really because of our provincial unit that we were able to do this. We follow national standards. It's a major training that has to be given with updates every 2 months that these pilots have to follow. And in Kodiak, we have several pilots, drone pilots. So just to let you know that this is a tool that's used quite frequently in different investigations and certainly in urgent cases. Another case, I wanted to talk about the provincial tactical and traffic enforcement operation. They came during the YQM weekend. So on August 25th, they were the Tactical Traffic Enforcement Unit was here in Moncton and Dieppe and Riverview. 9 vehicles were towed in total and 121 traffic violations were issued. Out of the 121 traffic violations, 33 were issued for a handheld use, a telephone, a cell phone usually, and 21 tickets were issued for not wearing a seatbelt. And the first cause of death in motor vehicle accidents is the lack of a seatbelt. Amongst the vehicles towed, a number of them had fictitious motor vehicle inspection stickers. And these fictitious motor vehicle inspection stickers are a widespread issue here in New Brunswick, not just our region here. According to our information, when you go to a garage to get your inspection, it costs $45 for a 2-year sticker, but people are paying over $100 for a fictitious sticker, quite often to avoid having to make the expensive repairs to their vehicles, such as broken windshields or others. But a ticket, if you have a fictitious sticker in New Brunswick, is $292.50. And you have to pay the towing fee. And then, of course, you don't have your vehicle anymore. You have to find another way to get around. So just as an information here, we have a number of these cases, but it's really not worth it down at the end of the road to try and save a little up front. And I mentioned how our job is dangerous sometimes. I wanted to mention that 2 weeks ago, we had a case that was very critical at the end of Mountain Road North. There was a case in which somebody had a knife, was running through the traffic. This person was visually did not seem well, and this was a person who was close to Magnetic Hill. Our members spent some time trying to negotiate with this person, but unfortunately he was under the effect of very powerful drugs. He wasn't present. So congratulations to the patrollers. They were able to find a way to remove his knife and to bring him to medical help. So we're happy that it ended well. But 24 hours later, we received a similar call in the same area. We sent the police officers, and it was the same person once again with the same problem. Under the effects of drug, a dangerous person, he wanted to harm himself or harm others. Once again, the patrollers reacted quickly. They were able to disarm him. And then we brought him before the courts in order to be able to charge him and to impose help on him. So this kind of problem case, we see it fairly regularly, and it's by investing in community police services that we want to find innovative ways to help people who are in difficulty. So that's just what I wanted to mention. And in closing, for the YQM Festival in Dieppe, the whole thing went very smoothly in terms of the traffic and the safety. There were a lot of people here in the region. I know there was a lot of planning that went into it. We didn't have any major incidents reported to us. We had great cooperation, when people had to move and flow. So just another reminder, we do this at the beginning of every fall. We realize that there's an increase of theft from vehicles, not just in Dieppe, but throughout the region. So just a reminder, please don't leave any valuables in your vehicle. Don't leave any wallet, keys, money, electronic devices. Just don't attract any attention in your vehicle. Better to leave that in your building or in your home. And that is my report for this evening. Thank you. Thank you. I see that there are several people who might have questions. Councillor Leboutier. Thank you. Thank you, Your Worship. First of all, congratulations and thank you on behalf of all of the residents for all of the great work you do. And thank you for your report, and welcome, Corporal Bélanger. You mentioned that when there were problem areas, well, at the end of August, a citizen reported to us, and I've seen it myself, the corner of Chartersville and Pascal Street. It's a four-way. Probably talked about it, but in morning time or at different times of day, but certainly in the morning and the evening, and perhaps the city might look at it to see if there's something missing in terms of safety, because people just go right through. They don't seem to stop. Well, thank you for mentioning that. Yes, somebody had mentioned that a few weeks ago. I think we opened a file. I asked for patrols in the morning, and more specifically, I asked the community police officers, because they to really be visible. We don't want to be to hide there. We want to be visible, because really it's everybody's safety, but I'll keep my eye out on it. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Councillor Brideau. Thank you, Your Worship. Ms. Farah, thank you. And congratulations for the case of the Saunier. Congratulations for the work that was done. But I'd like to come back to the traffic issue. I received complaints this past weekend on Olivier Street. I know that this is generalized throughout the city. We know that people speed throughout the city, but I would just like to draw your attention to the fact that the resident who complained to me said that he called the police 3 times in order to have a patrol car come by, because there was a lot of speeding on Olivier Street, not far from here. Without receiving an answer, he did not get a response, and he didn't see any patrol cars either. And this is, he's a resident of that street. So I just wanted to point this out to you. We want to tell our residents, call the police and report it when you see it happening. But we have to see that there's a reaction, a response from the other side. And the first time he called me, I saw it myself, because there was construction here on the corner of Champlain and Acadie Streets. There was a detour, a little detour. So, of course, people like to take secondary streets to get out of the heavy traffic. But I thought, well, that evening, I can see there was a lot of traffic at 7:30. There was a lot of traffic. All traffic was jammed back here in Champlain Street, because cars just couldn't get by anymore. So that's when the first complaint came to me, and I said, okay, well, I can see that people are trying to avoid the areas where the traffic is really heavy. But then this weekend, he called me back and he said, I called the police station 3 times and I didn't get a response at all. So I just wanted to mention this to you. Thank you. I'm glad that you mentioned it, because perhaps after you can tell me the name of the complainant, phone number and address, and I will personally follow up, because we want people to call us, of course, and we open a file. Now, of course, the patrollers are always, if they're out on an emergency case, we can't remove them from that to go on patrol, but it should be reported, and we open up a file. So I'll follow up on it and see if I can see the documents, the file, and I'm sure that Corporal Bélanger is going to make sure that he sends people, but I will follow up. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Brideau. I don't see any lights on. So, as always, thank you. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for your dedication. And with the new team, we expect to see you at different events and activities throughout the community in our arenas, right? Thank you once again. Thank you and have a great evening. And you're always welcome to stay if you like, but I'm sure that you have other things to do. Thank you. Which brings us to 7.2, a public hearing, amendments, municipal development plan Z-9, 2017, and zoning bylaw Z-10, 2021, the territory annexation project. Good evening, Mr. Girard. Good evening. Thank you, Your Worship. Councillors, as the mayor indicated, we are in a public hearing currently for the proposed amendments to the municipal development plan and the zoning bylaw on the following the territory annexation project. Just to review the timeline, we started the process, the procedure, the amendment procedure, the amendment of the municipal plan and the zoning bylaw on June 12th. We had a public presentation on June 26th. We are currently in a public hearing. The next important dates on this timeline are a presentation to the Planning Advisory Committee, the PAC, on September 20th, and then we will be back here for a council decision in October. Now, just to explain the context of the public consultation, what we started, this is beyond the minimal requirements of the municipal act. We had an information session for all residents of the annexed territory to give them information on what is being proposed, what we had worked on with the Stantec team at the time, that those were the consultants. Stantec had made some proposals. We had held a series, an information session. We had also printed out and installed panels at the entrance of City Hall. These panels remained there just at the entrance of City Hall for a 6-month period, I believe, where people could come and see what was being proposed, what we were going to be proposing officially to council. The communication department created a specific page on the website with all of the information that was downloadable, where there was signage or information document for the public. And within the legal process, during the procedure of the amendment procedure, we held a public presentation on June 26, and right now we're in public hearing, as I mentioned. To explain the context of the local governance reform for council and for the public. In January 21, the province of New Brunswick launched its local governance reform process. The residents of a portion of the local service district, the LSD of Moncton, which is called Greater Lakeburn, as well as a portion of the Skuduk LSD, were annexed to the city of Dieppe as of January 1st, 2023. The proposed amendments to the city of Dieppe's municipal development plan and zoning bylaw are intended to integrate and harmonize existing development regulations in the annexed area with those of the city. So as mentioned at the public presentation, that both sectors that I mentioned, they already have existing standards. The process that we are going to implement here would be to repeal those regulations and integrate them into the Dieppe municipal development plan. So when we talk about these two LSDs, here you see a map that shows the boundaries of these two LSDs. It's a combined territory of about 25 square kilometers, so a quarter of the total surface area of the city of Dieppe that has been merged. So here you can see the highlights, some interesting statistics for public and council. So with the annexation of the territory, the total area is 122 square kilometers. We now have approximately 12,000 lots. And we're talking about 669 in the annexed sector. The population is about 900 in the annexed section, which would bring the population of Dieppe to about 32,000. Just a more general overview, what is a municipal development plan? It's to guide the growth and development of the city. It's a strategic, visionary, and long-term plan. It establishes the policies that will guide and support the orderly development of the city of Dieppe on the social, economic, physical, and environmental levels, and it is a municipal bylaw.
Municipal. Donc, quand on parle de l'arrêté de zonage,
so when we talk about the zoning bylaw, so the city of zoning bylaw helps implement the policies of the municipal development plan by setting more specific rules for the development of properties in the municipality. So that's where we determine what are the permitted uses, the height of buildings, all of that is within the zoning bylaw. So as I mentioned, we're dealing with current planning regulations. What we want to do is repeal those regulations and take the principles that are that exist and incorporate them into our own development documents. Now, what we're proposing is to create a new section within the bylaw to recognize the annexed territory as a unique territory and a territory where we want to regulate the development according to the principles that are in the development. So here are the objectives. So preserve the existing rural character, limit urban sprawl, preserve the natural state as much as possible, and enhance natural environments, and limit commercial and industrial development in the annexed area. So those are the objectives that are pursued by the modification, by the amendment rather. So we're trying to provide a context for changes. So we're adding principles that are aimed at regulating the development density and form, the subdivision of land, and residential, commercial, and industrial uses. So those are the principles that are being added to the municipal development plan. Here what you see is the generalized land use map that we're proposing. And that will be annexed to the amendment. And that will be up for consideration by council members. So the zoning bylaw amendments now. So here's what we're doing. We're trying to merge 3 zoning maps into a single map. So on this map, or what we see the current city of Dieppe zoning map, and then in the middle we have the rural plan for the Westmorland Albert portion of the Moncton LSD, and then to the right the rural plan for Beaubassin West. And so what we want to do is merge the 3 zoning maps into one. So this is the tool that's on our website, and what it does is it allows residents to visualize the changes being proposed. All right, so what we see here is if you use that bar, that mechanism, and you move it from left to right, you can see the changes that are being proposed, depending on the location of a given property. So you can use that tool to visualize, okay, well, where is my land? What zoning is being proposed? And what's being proposed for my land? So that's a tool that we've made available for people so that they can view the changes that are being proposed. So what are we proposing? What we're proposing in terms of zoning is that about 80% of the territory that's being annexed, we want to keep it rural. And the idea is to limit urban sprawl. We want to encourage minimal density. We will allow agricultural use, forestry use, and some residential use, but the idea is to limit the intensity of the development in that area. For RR2, this is a new zone being created, and the objective is to recognize that there has been some residential development in those annexed areas, so single-family housing units on like a 1 acre lot, for example. There's a lot of other proposals or projects that have begun a few years ago for new lots to accommodate that new form of development. So we created the RR2, and it represents about 17% of the annexed territory. And again, here we're talking about limiting the uses to like a single family housing. So CE is a zone that already exists in the current zoning bylaw. So we took that zone and we zoned a few of the properties alongside Champlain, so near the airport and the industrial park. So, and as you can see on the map, there's a minimal number of lands that are affected and that are zoned CE. The main uses permitted in those zones are commercial in nature. We're talking about car repair centers, entrepreneurial yards, and that type of thing. We're not promoting intense uses, but it's limited more to small companies, and so that's an option that's being presented. And then RM, the zone RM, that's a new zone again that we're creating, and it's a rural mix zone. This zone was created specifically to recognize various types of commercial and light industrial uses, so that we intend to maintain. And we're talking about a small percentage, like 0.9% of the annexed land. So that's another thing that's being proposed. So here we have the total map of what's being proposed. And this is what would be adopted, or what would happen if the council presented. So that's basically the end of my presentation, or the formal part of the public hearing. Again, you see the timeline with some very important dates here. And in terms of formal comments that our department has received from residents or from entrepreneurs, we've had a number of conversations with residents, either formally or informally. And at this point, we received only one formal correspondence that will be read by Mr. Marc Melançon, and that will conclude the public hearing portion. So I'm here, if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Mr. Melançon, could you read that document received, please? Certainly. All right, this is a correspondence from the lawyer of John Eric Wallapauer.
Honorable Mayor, City Councilor, and Clerk. I am the lawyer of Mr. Marcel Giroir, President and CEO of Mad Properties Limited, the registered owner and fee simple of the lands and premises situated at Civic number 26293, Babin Road, Great Lakeburn, Dieppe, the property. I am also the lawyer for Mathieu Giroir, the president and CEO of MTR Building Supplies Limited. Excuse me. A company supplying building material to the construction industry out of the premises located on a portion of the property fronting the south side of Babin Road, in which it leases for Mat Properties Limited at 293 Babin Road, Greater Lakeburn, Dieppe, New Brunswick. Part 1, background information. In the year 2022, Mat Properties Limited purchased the property from a company owned by Mr. Siffroy Melançon. Prior to entering into a contract for the purchase and sale of the property, my clients were informed by Mr. Siffroy Melançon that on the property, he had carried on an active and busy commercial masonry business since the year 2008. Furthermore, the client were informed by Mr. Siffroy Melançon that the building on his property were used for businesses proposed in the carrying on of his masonry business. On January 1st, 2023, as part of the Government of New Brunswick local governance reforms, the City of Dieppe has annexed parts of two neighboring local service districts, one such annexed part having included the subject property located on civic number 293 Babin Road, Greater Lakeburn, Dieppe, New Brunswick. For reasons which are not entirely known to my clients, but very likely having to do with the local governance reform pertaining to the area being annexed to the City of Dieppe on January 1st, 2023, planning and/or bylaw enforcement officials from the City of Dieppe contacted and informed my client that they were in non-compliance with the former zoning bylaw and that to carry on a business at civic number 293 Babin Road, they would have to make a rezoning application in order to rezone the property because the old zoning bylaw didn't permit a commercial use on the lands zoned as rural agriculture. At no time were my clients informed about the process being carried out by the City of Dieppe to bring into force an amendment to Dieppe's municipal plan and zoning bylaw with respect to the two annexed areas. Part 2, legal issues. There are several legal issues involving my client's current commercial use of the property, and I believe it is appropriate to commence with the legal issue regarding how the City of Dieppe handled the matter causing my client distress, and as well as negatively impacting their business and property interests at 293 Babin Road, Greater Lakeburn, Dieppe, New Brunswick, resulting in the loss of profits. Given the fact that the property has been used for 15 years as a commercial masonry business commencing in the year 2008 by the former owner, Mr. Siffroy Melançon, a reasonable person would have expected that the city would have taken notice of the commercial use being put to the property and would have inserted and included in the forthcoming amendment to the Dieppe Municipal Plan and zoning bylaw with respect to two annexed areas. The commercial use designation with respect to the property located at civic number 293 Babin Road. Apparently, this was not the case. Instead of receiving help and assistance with respect to how they may be best remediate and correct the commercial use zoning situation on a go-forward basis, my clients were informed that the old zoning bylaw did not permit a commercial use at civic number 293 Babin Road, and therefore, they couldn't carry on a business there, essentially looking backwards instead of looking forward proactively. Furthermore, my clients received a lengthy letter from the City of Dieppe containing a laundry list of requirements requiring them to hire engineers and other qualified experts, such as land surveyors, to prove to the City of Dieppe that their buildings met the bylaw requirements from the pre-January 1st, 2023 Westmoreland Albert Planning Area Zoning Bylaw. My clients were essentially being castigated for using the property in the same commercial manner which was consistent with the commercial use put to the property by Mr. Siffroy Melançon for a period of over 15 years, and it is the position of my client that this ought to have been taken into account by the City of Dieppe, since there is a long-standing recognition and application of grandfathering provisions of a property used pursuant to and in conjunction with the non-conforming use provisions of the Community Planning Act, New Brunswick. To see things clearer, it is hereby suggested that the following two questions be given due consideration, since it is respectfully submitted that the answers by the City of Dieppe to the questions will clearly establish and reveal my client's points, namely that there existed within the City of Dieppe's internal process being carried out by the City of Dieppe in Shepherd Herding. The new zoning regulations were with respect to the two annexed areas. A number of errors, including the follow-up of the zoning designations along with the Babin Road, Greater Ligburn, City of Dieppe. Question. I refer you to the proposed zoning map showing the lands located on both sides of Babin Road, Greater Ligburn, Dieppe. Question number one. Why were certain lands situated on the north side of Babin Road designated commercial use on the proposed zoning map, while my client lands situated on the south side of Babin Road, almost opposite of the parcels designated commercial use, were being designated by the City of Dieppe planning staff as rural agriculture? Question number two. If you look at the current zoning map for the City of Dieppe, you will notice that the zoning used for lands running north along the Route 15 highway, commonly referred as to the Dieppe to Chediac 4 lanes, and extending along Aviation Boulevard and running in a northeasterly direction and having a width of between 1,000 and 1,500 meters setback, and then extending easterly along the route number 2 Trans-Canada Highway the same width, are designated and shown as being either commercial or light industrial use. Why would the City of Dieppe similarly zone as a commercial use all those lands located on both sides of Babin Road and running easterly along the southerly boundary of the route number 2 Trans-Canada Highway? I see from a review of the proposed zoning map that there are already some lands zoned commercial and situated between the southerly boundary of route number 2 Trans-Canada Highway and the northerly side of Babin Road, so why not zone as commercial the lands situated on the south side of Babin Road? There are likely more questions which could be raised by my clients, but suffice is to say the above-mentioned two questions clearly illustrate my client's point quite effectively. Part 3, remedial action requested. It is submitted that it is not too late for the City of Dieppe to make the necessary changes to incorporate whatever necessary changes are required to recognize my client land as a commercial use. On behalf of my clients, I hereby request that the City and Mayor for the City of Dieppe amend or cause to be amended to draft the City of Dieppe municipal plan and accompanying proposed zoning map to zone my client's property as having a commercial use. I was told by a representative of the City of Dieppe that this request was not possible because of all the preliminary documentation has been prepared, published, and meetings were already scheduled to discuss and approve the same. I disagree. I would like to remind the City of Dieppe officials that under the provisions of the Local Governance Act, subsection 15(7), that it states as follows: a proposed bylaw may be amended at any time before the third reading. I am outside the province of New Brunswick until Friday, September 15, 2023, but I am informed by my client, Mr. Mathieu Giroir, will be in attendance for the 7 o'clock meeting on Monday, September 11, 2023, meeting of council as a representative of and for Mad Properties Limited. Respectfully submitted by John Eric Polabauer.
OK, merci. Est-ce qu'il y a d'autres?
Thank you. Are there any other objections received or other objections received? Nothing in the writing, no. All right. Is there anybody in the room to represent this person, this individual? Could you come forward? And identify yourself. Yes, Mathieu Giroir. Thank you, Your Worship and councillors. So I was not aware that the letter would be read today, but that's the process. Okay, well, I was just here to represent my properties and myself who is the owner of MCR Building Supply. So really, it was to just to question the zoning, as you know, we've heard in the letter that was just read. I don't understand why the property at 293 Babin couldn't be considered commercial, since there are properties on the same street, or the same road rather, that have that commercial zoning. When we bought the property, we didn't know that the city of Dieppe was going to annex the region. Well, the city of Dieppe was forced by the government. I just want to make sure that you understand that we were forced to annex it by the government. Okay, but when we bought the property, it was clear there was GNM Masonry was the company that was there, and that was operating. They had been operating there for more than 15 years. They had been selling, you know, rebar and masonry and other products to the public. There was also big transport trucks and so forth on that property. So when we bought that land, there was no reason to think that we'd have a problem. So we moved. I have a company with 20 employees. We moved there last year, and when we saw this letter, essentially it was telling us that we had to shut our doors. I personally spent over $100,000 on that land. You know, we paved, we graded, we built some structures, and then with Ernest Thibodeau, we met with regard to road issues, and Marcel and I probably invested $100,000 into the road. It's a provincial road. The province didn't want to do anything. The city didn't want to help us either. So we put our own money to make improvements, and that's a street, or that's a road where school buses go by, and there are houses past our company, and there are other companies as well that have trucks, forestry trucks, and so there's other truck traffic there. So I see, you know, that we added to that road, and we can't just move. That property had been, for 15 years, had been used for construction products, and just shorter, a little further down the road, there's a property. I think they sell and repair cars, and it's a go-kart company, and they're commercial. They're considered commercial, but we don't seem to be able to be accepted as commercial. So I'm just here to see why. And, you know, I think we made improvements to the road. We have lots of people, employees. So I don't see why we couldn't be approved for a zoning change that other people on our street already have. All right. I think that your comments will be taken into consideration. But the next stage now is that this will go back to the PAC committee. They will study the file, and then they will make a recommendation to council. So that's the stage that we are. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you. Does anyone else want to say something on this file? All right, then we will continue. Item number 8, questions by members of the public. Did we receive anything else by email or inaudible? Oh, there's someone at the mic. Hello, Véronique Cormier. I'm a Dieppe resident. I live on Barachois Street. And I think most of you have seen me before. I'm just here to do a bit of a follow-up. There was a group of citizens that lives around Centrale, Melançon, Barachois, and Bourg Streets in that area. We gathered 70 signatures for a petition regarding single-family dwellings. So I just wanted to make a follow-up. I know that people were on holiday, but just don't forget that we sent that letter and that we're waiting for a response. Yes, we did receive your letter. I sent that letter on to the planning department, and we will look at that, or they will look at that within the framework of what the municipality has to look at in terms of zoning. So, but we did receive your letter, and it was sent to the department. Thank you. Anyone else? That's it. All right. We will continue with the adoption of minutes from the regular council meeting held on August 14th. Moved by Councillor Turgeon-Roy, seconded by Councillor, all right, Brideau. On the question. No questions. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. The minutes carry as presented. That brings us to motions, memorandums, and nominations. 10.1.1. 10.1.1 ratification directive adopted at closed meetings. Mr. Melançon, do you have something to add? Well, this is a directive that was presented to the council, so this is an unsolicited request to purchase land on Arsenault Road. We decided not to go ahead with that sale, and we've asked Expansion Dieppe rather to do an evaluation, and if it's an option, to make it public, so that everybody can have the information and that everybody can do a proposal. So as a public entity, we are obligated to take those steps. So this is we are turning down the non-solicited request for purchase of land. All right, who would like to read the resolution? Councillor Thibodeau. Thank you. That council ratify the directive adopted at a closed meeting of council concerning the following topic: land purchase request, PIDs 00808857 and 01025113 Arsenault Road, adopted July 10th, 2022. So moved. Moved by Councillor Thibodeau, seconded by Councillor Jeannet. On the question. No questions. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. The motion carries as presented. 10.2 engineering. So 10.2.1 tender award. Mr. Melançon. All right, this is an RFP for milling and paving on Champlain Street from Dieppe and on the Dieppe and Aviation section. So we received 3 bids, and the one that we're recommending is Modern Construction for $698,010 plus HST, and with engineering services from Englobe Corp at a cost of $52,305. So we had good prices that allowed us to do a little bit more, and we're very happy with that. So we recommend approval, and this work will be done in the coming weeks. All right, who wants to read the resolution? Councillor Lanteng? Yes, Your Worship. That council award the tender for the project entitled 2023 Mill and Pave Champlain Street Phase 2 to the lowest bidder, Modern Construction 1983 Limited, at the cost of $698,010 plus HST. Authorize Englobe Corp to undertake engineering services relating to said project at the cost of $52,305 plus HST, and further authorize these expenditures be defrayed from account number 3-3-35-58-7670, General Capital Budget, Champlain Street, Designated Highway. And that Council authorize the following budget transfer to account number 3-3-35-58-7670, General Capital Budget, Champlain Street, Designated Highway. $174,000 from account number 7420128920, General Capital Reserve Fund and $180,000 from account number 3335587603 General Capital Budget Microsurfacing. So moved. Moved by Councillor Lantang, seconded by Councillor Louboutin on the question. No questions. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. The motion carries as presented.
10.2, Monsieur Melançon.
10.2.2, Mr. Melançon. Yes, you have a recommendation before you that the staff is recommending under the Provincial Municipal Highway Partnership Program. The province is asking us to prepare a 4-year plan, so from 2025 to 2028. The staff takes different factors into consideration, the municipal road system, the replacement in certain areas, and the condition of the top layer. So the assessment was done by a third party. I will let council read the resolution so that I don't have to repeat what is going to be said, but they recommend that Champlain Street from Aviation to Lorette Street would be the first part, and their following details will be read by the council, but this is the staff recommendation. Thank you. Mr. Brideau, to read the resolution. Thank you, Your Worship. That council approve the City of Dieppe's priority projects under the Provincial Municipal Highway Partnership Program for the 2025 to 2028 period as outlined below. 2025, mill and pave on Champlain Street from Aviation Avenue to Lorette Street. The eligible cost is $2,500,000 and for an ineligible cost of $1,150,000. In 2026, perhaps you could give the total amount, Councillor Brideau, as well, for 2025. So for 2025, for a total of $3,650,000. 2026, mill and pave, once again, Champlain Street from Lorette Street to Moncton Flight College. Eligible cost of $1,700,000, ineligible cost of $425,000 for a total of $2,125,000. For 2027, mill and pave of Amiro Street from Fox Creek Road to Dover Road. At eligible cost, $3,900,000, ineligible cost of $1,500,000 for a total of $5,400,000. And in 2028, mill and pave, Acadie Avenue from Marché Street to Alain Gillin Street, and Amiro Street from Melanson Road to Fox Creek Road for an eligible cost of $3,100,000 and for a total of $3,100,000. And asphalt preservation, microsurfacing of Champlain Street from the city's western limit to Acadie Avenue. Eligible cost $800,000 for a total of $800,000. And I so move, Your Worship. Thank you. It's been moved by Councillor Brideau, seconded by Councillor Leboutier. On the question, Councillor Godet. Thank you, Your Worship. I just have a question because Amiro from Melanson to Fox Creek Road and from Fox Creek Road is to Dover Road is only planned to be done in 2027 and 2028. The road is not in very good condition there. Perhaps we could advance it some, or I will ask the director a little later, but every now and then we look at the situation, and in discussion with the Department of Transportation of the province, if things change, there's the weather, there's all sorts of factors, but right now this is what staff is recommending. I don't know, Marc-André, do you have anything to add to that? Good evening. Thank you for the question. Just a clarification, in 2025-2026 is Champlain Street. And a few years ago, when we had submitted our 3-year program from 2022 to 24, we had done the section in front of Champlain Street as a first priority. But then there was the section of Champlain Street in the east part of the city has become a priority. So the city is doing their work as well. So we put Champlain here as a priority because the province has it as a priority, as a first priority in their program. So, and because there's the water mains need to be changed as well. For Amiro, it's done. Going south, it's done until Melançon Road. But here we're suggesting we're skip between Melançon and Fox Creek and go do between Fox Creek and Dover because there's problems with the water mains there that affects a number of residents in the area. Every time there's there's been a lot of water main breaks and they've been under boil odors a number of times. So we want to repair the water mains, and at the same time we would do the mill and pave of the road. Well, it's just that from between Melançon and Fox Creek Road, around the water tower. I mean, it was patched just a couple of months ago, and there's all sorts of new potholes again. So I don't know if the work was not well done or if it's a particularly bad spot, but the road is not going to be in good condition by 2028 if we have to wait. Well, yeah, even at the last meeting of council, there were comments made on the quality of patching. So we're going to look at that. Perhaps in some areas we can do some more milling and paving rather than just patching, but we'll have a discussion and we'll assess it and see if it's too far away in time, because this is at the request of the province. It doesn't mean that this is exactly what's going to happen, but perhaps we can do repairs earlier. Yeah, a number of citizens had asked me when it was going to be done, and when they see 2028, they're going to say that's pretty far away. So if you could just take that into consideration. Yes, thank you. Yeah, it's been noted, and we'll ask the staff to go look at the patching and to make sure that the road surface is well protected for the upcoming winter season. Thank you. Have we voted on it yet? No. All those in favor of the resolution will signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. It's carried as presented. Which brings us to 10.3, community development. Mr. Melançon? Yes, this is an activity that will be held on Saturday, September 16th. It's a truck pull event in partnership with Midland Transport. We are proposing a street closure on Gauvin Street between Marché Street and Acadie Street from 12:45 p.m. to 5 p.m. This is what's recommended. The people in that area were contacted, and they all are aware that there will be an event that on Saturday afternoon coming up. And so we would like to recommend the temporary closure of Gauvin Road for this event. Thank you. Who would like to read it? Councillor Turgeon-Roy. Thank you, Your Worship. That council authorized the temporary closure of Gauvin Road between Marché Street and Acadie Avenue on Saturday, September 16, 2023, from 12:45 p.m. to 5 p.m. in order to hold a truck pull event. And I so move it. Thank you. It's been moved by Councillor Turgeon-Roy and seconded by Councillor Dantaigne on the question. Councillor Le Boutillier. Thank you. Thank you, Your Worship. Just a question of clarification. This will be right in the middle of the market hours. Now, if the road is closed, how are we going to have it? Are we going to close off the parking spots earlier in the morning? Well, the parking spots will be closed on Friday at midnight, the night before, and the road will be closed at 12:45 p.m. And we've been doing it for 3 years like this now, and we haven't had any comments in the past years. So we're proposing to do the same thing this year. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. Any further questions? If not, all those in favor of the resolution will signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. It's carried as presented. And 10.3.2, a contract award for a youth needs study. Yes, it's recommended to award the contract to Ville Recherche et Analyse at the cost of $55,660 plus HST. This comes under the Tourism and Recreation Master Plan. This initiative will allow us to know what are the true needs and the reality of the youth from 12 to 18 years old, and to see how we can integrate and implement initiatives, and to see how the activities are taking place at the youth house. Thank you. Who would like to read the resolution? Councillor Lantaigne. Thank you, Your Worship. That Council award the contract for professional services pertaining to a Dieppe youth needs study to Ville Recherche et Analyse at the cost of $55,660 plus HST, and authorize that this expenditure be defrayed from account number 1-2-70-84-2585, General Operating Budget, Consultation, LRFS. And I so move. Thank you. It's been moved by Councillor Lantaigne, seconded by Councillor Godet on the question. No question. All those in favor of the resolution will signify by saying aye. Contrary, nay. It's carried as presented. Sorry. We're at item number 11, municipal bylaws. There's nothing this evening. 12, notices of motion. None. Okay. Which brings us to inquiries and announcements by members of council. I believe we're starting with Councillor Lantaigne on my right. And your mic is already on. Yes, I think I had mentioned it for August 15th, but also for the activities of August 15th and YQM. I was able to participate in both of those events. And I have to tell you that I was very pleased with the way it all proceeded. It was very well organized, both of them. And there weren't any little hiccups backstage necessarily, but nobody can foresee those except the organizers, and nobody sees them. So thank you to all of the organizers, and I'm happy to see that there was already next year's YQM is already being announced. So that's wonderful. There's 2 great weekends. And I'd like to wish everybody a good return to school and university and colleges and schools and staff, of course. And I'd like to remind you, please be careful. It's the return to normalcy, if you want. There's a lot more traffic, a lot of students waiting for buses in the roads. Please slow down. Please be careful. I have a friend who was telling me on the weekend, she's a bus driver. She was saying how it's incredible it is how many vehicles pass by a bus when their lights are on. And sometimes it might be by a lack of attention, but I think it's just people who are in a hurry. But the day that they hit a child, they won't be in a hurry anymore. It'll be too late. So our bus drivers have the children's safety at heart. So please, let's help them keep our children safe. That's my message here today. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Councillor Good.
He stole my ideas, so I have no further comments. So have a good weekend. Good week, rather. Councillor Turgeon-Roy, thank you, Your Worship. I just wanted to mention, I can't help but talk about what happened in Morocco this weekend. We all know Moroccans. We especially at the college, with the students, we run into people from Morocco every day. So I just wanted to express my profound solidarity. I'm very saddened by the things that are happening there, and I'm sure my colleagues are too. So I would encourage the Dieppe community to support all the efforts that are being set up to help people who have been affected by the tragedy. So, and courage to the Moroccan diaspora in the region, to the families. May your courage and your unity guide you, and our thoughts and prayers are with you, and we send you our support. That's really something that I really wanted to get off my chest, and our thoughts are with them. Thank you. Have a good week. Councillor Thibodeau. Thank you, Your Worship. I have a question. When we passed the tree bylaw, we were in a hurry to get it passed so that we could protect trees, but a number of us said that we should, of the trees that had to be replaced, there was a question of trees that were on, that we should be able to remove trees when a house is being built. And we were told that we could revisit it later on. So I'm just wondering, was there any work done on this, or do we have to talk about it again? So Councillor Thibodeau, so the staff, is looking and studying and observing what's going on. This file was studied during the summer. What we wanted to do was give 12 to 18 months of leadway, because we're aware that there are issues that might need to be looked at further. There are also the issue of public streets, so things like that need to be looked at. And we were recommending that we kind of apply the bylaw for 12 to 18 months, and then we do a report to see if there were any recommended changes or revisions. So we'll be sharing that with you at the appropriate time. And you might, that's what I seem to remember what was decided. Okay, thank you. That's all for me, Your Worship. Councillor Brideau. Thank you, Your Worship. I have nothing to add tonight. Have a good week. Thank you. Councillor Janet. Thank you, Your Worship. Just to let you know that I married the love of my life in July, so you may have noticed that my name changed. I took my husband's name, Janet. My old email address with Boudreau still works, but it's been changed to Janet, so both should work. We did a test today with the team, and thank you to them, by the way. I also wanted to express my solidarity with the Moroccans in this very painful time, so thank you, Councillor Turgeon-Roy, for mentioning it. I had a question. During city events, do we sort like recyclables from the garbage bans? There were, like, in the August 15th, there were bottles. So is there a sorting that's done? And the trucks that we hire to collect garbage, will the waste in those trucks be sorted as well? Who wants that question? Mr. Leblanc. I know that on August 15th, it wasn't done, and that was a mistake. Normally we do it. We usually have volunteer groups that go around and they gather cans, but there is no regulation in place for organizations such as Midland do it. But it's something that we can look at for the future and to see how we can improve that process. All right, perfect. Thank you. Have a nice evening. Councillor Lebouty. Thank you. I too would like to congratulate staff for the two big events that were held, the YQM and the August 15th. I'm sure that there was a lot of work, but it was very nice to see both those events. It's not, sorry, 1755, but not, I didn't, on August 15th, everything was great. You did an admirable job. I also want to congratulate the women's soccer team who won the provincial championship. They will be representing our province in October at the Nationals here. So thank you, or congratulations to the Dieppe team that won that tournament. I also would like to come back and to make sure that we're looking at the Pascal Chartersville traffic situation, to make sure that to see if we can improve that situation. So maybe we need to add lights or something. We need to look at that further. There's something else I wanted to talk about too, and I can't remember it right now. We can come back to you. That's okay. All right, that's it. Councillor Gaudette. Thank you, Your Worship. I just have a question for Rotary Park. At the entrance, that was all redone, and then there are posts. Is that for lights, for future lights? That's on Melançon? I'm not sure if it's for pedestrian crossings. I know that the base, the foundation is there, but yes, that's what it'll be. It'll on Sainte-Thérèse, and there are RA5 lights for crossing. Do you have any dates? Well, at latest, the last news was that it would be in October, but I think that's an optimistic date because we need that. There are a lot of cars that are traveling quickly and a lot of pedestrians and cyclists crossing. You know, I'm happy to have seen that the posts were installed. That's what I thought that's what they thought they were. Well, I'll do a follow-up and I'll see what what kind of delivery date we're looking at. All right, that's all I have for me. All right, thank you, Councillor Lebouty. All right, thank you. Thank for thinking of me again. I thought I remember. It was the dog waste bins. I wonder if we can get another system in the parks, because you really this right now you have to open the garbage cans, but in other municipalities you don't have to touch the cans. So I think it's more hygienic if you don't have to do it. So if there's a hole in there, you can just throw the bag in there, and that might lead to fewer bags elsewhere. All right. Thank you. Well, for me, I think again, we can't say this enough, but our young people are back at school, so we encourage everyone, as was done by the members of the RCMP this evening. It's so important just to be careful. So brace yourselves. For those of you who think that things are slowing down at the city of Dieppe, well, everything that we're hearing is we're hearing a completely different message. So our staff is extremely busy. We appreciate the work that you do. I know that this is a difficult year. Well, maybe not difficult, a demanding year maybe is a better term. The future of Dieppe is promising, and we should be proud of this. And let's hope we continue in the same direction. So have a nice evening, everyone, and take care.